Okay, what we're going to do today, we have Windows 2012. We're going to install, we have already promoted the Windows Server to a domain controller. And what we are going to do is... No, prior, front local, what's this network? What we're going to do is to configure. We have promote this server to Windows Server tools. You got Active Directory, user and computers. It was just promoted to Windows Server. The domain controller domain will be name.local. The host name is surname. So what we are going to do, is it okay, the video? Yeah? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to configure in the first steps about this server. First of all, we don't have many we don't have no service installed at all except the Active Directory users and computers. Also, we had installed the DNS. So the first thing that we have to do is to configure the DNS. The DNS, it's a major and quite important service on Windows 2012. We have to configure, and right now we know that I have the name.local. It has records, 8 records, that stands for IPv4. And we don't have no reverse lookup zones. This reserve lookup zone, we have to create it because it's important for all the configuration of the domain and give us faster updates about the policies that we are going to do. I had an image, but I don't remember. Well, so let's begin to create here a reverse zone. So here in DNS Manager, you say new zone, and it will be a primary zone. It will be stored, and to all DNS servers running on this domain, next. It will be a IPv4 reverse lookup zone, next. And since we are working with 2 interfaces, we have the first interface that is connected to the outside. It's working as NAT in the VirtualBox, and we have a second one working as internal that has this IP address. This interface, we have already renamed the name of the interfaces, and the properties for this interface are, as you can check, I've got IP, I've got the mask, no default gateway, since this interface doesn't go to anywhere, and the DNS server, it's localhost, so that the queries will be done inside the service that are running on the server. So after it, what you have to do is, since you are working, we have to place here the network ID. It's 192.168.10. The Windows is nice to us and write it in the proper way, in a reverse way. We say next, and we allow only secure dynamic updates. This means that it only updates with Dhcp that is allowed to do the updates. Do next, next, and finished. And right now you have here the reverse zone. In the zone that we have the name server with our full qualified domain name, fkdn surname name.local, and the star of authority that is also the same server. So the DNS right now it's configured for this part. And second, we are going to install a trivial service that is quite simple. So we are going to manage, add roles and features, installation type, next, and we're going to install Dhcp server. So next, you should have here DHCP servers somewhere. Where? I'm sorry? Previous. Oh, here it is. I think you went to a coffee. That's why. So add features, and then next. Thank you. And other features that you could install it, but it's not necessary from time being. Next, and install. And this is quite easy, the installation of the Dhcp. So Windows, we had, yeah, just a second, because we had here, let me pick up and here it is. Okay, here is the diagram that I was looking for. So this is what we're going to try to do. So you got here the server, the network interface, the internal interface, the FKDN, the full qualified domain name, and right now we're installing the DHCP. So we have also a Windows 10, and we are going right now to add this computer to the domain. Is installed the DHCP, we have close, and right now if you go to tools, we have DHCP, and we're going to configure DHCP. Okay, so DHCP is working for surname, name.local. Right now we can see it has a dot, a red, it's an arrow, down arrow means green, and also for IPv4 and IPv6. Why so? Because right now this server is not authorized. Since we have a dynamic DNS, when the clients acquire their IP from DHCP, the DHCP will update the DNS database. It means that then we can ping that host by name. To do so, it is necessary to authorize DHCP. So it means that DHCP will provide the IPs and other information that are important to the clients, and so the clients will do these updates. Let me bring up the Windows 10. We've got here the Windows 10 right now, network settings. It has only one adapter, it's in NAT. We should put it in internal network, and we choose IntNet. IntNet, it's just the same of the network interfaces that are configured on Windows Server. We've got the first one as NAT and the second one as IntNet. So here in Windows 10 we put the interface as IntNet. Then OK. After this you can go and try to get an IP. CMD. It's doing something. CMD. Let's go to network. No internet access. I didn't know that. And properties right now. Properties is trying to acquire an IP address. Let's go to the CMD comment. Let's put big higher font 24 colors. This screen text will be blue. Okay, So ipconfig all. Right now we see that he has the normal IP address that the VirtualBox delivers, and we're going to the ipconfig, oops, can't see this, too big, ipconfig release and then renew. And as you can check, we don't have IP, also because we didn't configure in our server. So first thing that we have to do is to authorize the DHCP. Authorize the DHCP. It stays red, but if you press F5, it will stay then green. It's just a question of refresh this window. And server option, we right now in IPv4 we're going to create a new scope. New scope, next. Then we give a name to this scope. What name would you like to give to this scope? Come on, a name. Okay, pastel nata. Okay. Then next, start IP address. The IP address where we started, we have to 168.10. We started in where? 50. Okay, and this will end. This ends in the what number? 500? 500? Ah, 100. Okay. Why not 500? You can't do 500. Oh, okay. Then next, and this is the exclusion for this range that we provide here, 51 IP addresses. We can even so make an exclusion of certain IP. Doesn't matter now. I'm going just to make the no. I won't make no exclusion. I'm going to make next no exclusion. Now this is the least duration when the DHCP doing the DORA process, deliver, offer, request, and acknowledge that when he interacts with the client. This is normal 8 days or 7 days or 15 days to a server that's to a local LAN. If this DHCP was working for mobile phones or laptops or something like that, then it should be less than this. I won't explain now the reasons or the motives. I'm going to try to finish this quite fast. Now we want to configure these options, and we say next. And router, default gateway. Default gateway is quite important. It's one of the 3 things that are important when we are configuring DHCP. First of all, if this client will acquire the IP, if he wants to leave this network, where is the IP of his gateway? Where is his door? How does he leave this circle? Where? So the gateway must be this IP. Okay? So in this case, it's the same IP of the DHCP server. Do we have other gateways? No, no other. So next, then the DHCP also provide a domain name. It's important, especially for Windows, for queries in NetBIOS. You will need to have the domain name, and the domain name, it's name.local, our domain. And something also, the server, the DNS server, it's also the same. Let's come back here to the image. Here it's also the DNS, and so we have to provide also this IP, because this is the IP of the DNS that is connected to the database of the Active Directory. So in this case, we'll say next. WinServer. WinServer, we don't use it anymore. At least with this version, it's compatibility to Windows NT and Windows 2000. It's quite old. That's why Microsoft uses right now domain server or Active Directory. And then we activate the scope. You say next and finished. And right now you've got here the scope. So you've got address pools, start 50, finish 100, address list. Right now there is no list because we don't have no client that acquired the IP. We could have reservation. Reservation, it's when you have generally for printers and for APs, for access points, you want to give to those hosts specific IP. So you make a reservation, you make new reservation, you know the name, so it's printer whatever. You give an IP different from that pool, from the pool 50 to 100, perhaps 150 or something like that, and then you write it here, the MAC address. You have to know the MAC address of the interface that is connected or that's inside of the equipment, and you say here the MAC address. Right now you don't have to. Scope options, and this is an important part. Right now these only 3 options are the options that are required and needed to add a computer in the Windows server. The router, where he has to connect, the IP of the DNS server, and the domain name. After it, we're going to the client, and right now we're going to make again ipconfig renew. And as you can check, you say, well, you have name.local, that's the name, that's our domain. We say yes, and right here we can check. So we received the domain name, name.local. This is an IPv6. This is the IP address, the first one of our pool, the netmask and default gateway. If you do ipconfig/all, you'll see that you have the same information, also the information about IPv6, the DNS servers, and all the information that was provided by the Dhcp. Now, you should always, after a given IP, you should also always try to ping by the interface, the Dhcp, and the Windows 2012, the server, it doesn't have any firewall rules, so you can ping that interface. Generally, it doesn't have. You could also try to ping by the name. If you say the fkdn of the server, it's surname.name.local, I think. If you ping it, you'll see here you have the information that the DNS of the server is solving the queries that we are making. We are pinging by name, and we send this to the DNS, and then he sends us the IP address. So the DNS is also working. After this is we're going to add this computer to the domain. To do so, well, I do just the old-fashioned way. I go here to this PC properties, right-click properties, and then you have computer name here, and we have desktop. Looked at his right now. He's on a work group. We'll change settings, and right now change. First of all, let's give a host name a better name. What name should we have to this host name? Suggestions. Come on, a name? Huh? No, no, not all. No, that will be you have problems in NetBIOS. Other name, client. Okay, client Win 10 client, and also the domain. Domain will be name.local. Okay, and okay, and so to add a computer to the domain, let's go to our Windows 12, the server. If you go here to Active Directory, no, this is DNS, sorry, here. If you go to Active Directory users and computers, right now, if you go to computers, you don't have no computer because you didn't have no host to the domain. Domain controllers, however, you should have this server. It's a global catalog, default first site server, but in computers you don't have no computer added to the domain. So after we add this computer, and for adding a computer to a domain, you should have a user with that faculty of adding hosts to the domain. So right now you've got administrator, and the password. We didn't have no other users, but we'll do in the next video. How long this video is? Just wait a second. Right now they are 20 minutes. I'm going to try to finish. Well, Houston, come on, man. Should be faster. Should be. Welcome to name.local domain. And then okay, and then you must restart the computer, of course. This is Microsoft. Restart now. And afterwards the computer should be in domain. You can check also here. Okay, right now this is your name. If you click here on another user, you'll find out that right now you've got the NetBIOS name here. Its name again should have another name, and now the user to that can access this computer should be administrator, because it's only a user that we have on our Active Directory. Look, since we write administrator, he'll try to go sign in to Win 10 client. That's why, because we install it in English, and there is also a user that's administrator, that's default installation user, and we have to change it. So we have to say name dot administrator, and then we can give the password of that administrator of the domain. Let's check here. Now, hi, I'm installing. I'll finish the video right away. Just check it out. Now, in computers, in Active Directory users and computers, you can check that right now you've got Windows 10 client. And also, if you go here to Dhcp, you will have address list. Press F5, and then you have also Windows 10 client with the proper FKDN. That is the host name and the domain, and when will expire 7, because he had 8 days for, and the MAC address of that client. Okay, let's check. I'm going to finish the video right away. Oh, but here we are right now. Wait a second, because it's doing something. And right now, as you can check, this is administrator, but this administrator is the administrator the administrator of the domain. I'll finish the video right here, and then next video we'll add users and groups and other stuff to the domain. Okay, where is the button to stop?